What is the best, most efficient way to make gil in FF14? Here we're comparing time investment versus gil return purely with battle classes. Leave those crafting and gathering tools at the door. I'll be going from lowest to highest in terms of gil obtained equated to per minute time investment. Noting this ordering is not necessarily worst to best, as factors like RNG and repeatability play a big part. Stay tuned to the end for recommendations. I'll be using current average sales prices across all EU servers in order to best remove server bias. First up, coming in at 3k per minute, level 90 dungeons, recommended 5 runs. Specifically the 2 in the expert roulette, which provide a few sources of gil including spirit bonding gear for materia. 5 runs is a sweet spot, as this should spirit bond a full set of gear generating 11 random materia. This practice takes around 85 mins. Ensure all your gear has at least 2 materia slotted into each piece, as each piece of materia boosts spirit bonding for the piece by 20%. The dungeon will then drop materia itself. On average you'll get 2 per run. You should then be needing and greeding on every piece of gear. You'll likely get at least 2 pieces of gear per run, so 10 from 5 runs. Hand the gear over to your Grand Company NPC under supply and provisioning missions for Grand Company seals, then trade these for an item like Peacock ore to sell on the market board. You'll also get Tomes of Astronomy. Trade these with the NPC in Rads at hand for crafting materials like Titanoboa skin, which is currently fetching 7,000 plus on the market board. Finally, you'll get 4.8k raw gil per run. As the type of materia will be random, I'll need to take an average across all materia types, which currently works out to about 2.5k. So totting up sales after 5 runs, 52k from materia, 40k from GC seal items, 140k from astronomy items, and 24k raw gil totals 256,000, equating to 3k per minute. The materia types is the main RNG element, but all items involved sell quickly, making it a highly repeatable activity. Next up, we're looking at Eureka bunny farming at 3.1k gil per minute. You can access Eureka via the level 70 quest, and we should call it Eureka, in Ralga's Reach after completing the 4.0 MSQ. The third zone Pyros is generally seen as the most profitable, so you'll have to get your character leveled to Elemental level 35 within the prior Eureka areas to access. I'll link to a decent Eureka guide in the description if you're looking for more details on how to get started. Bunny farming involves defeating elemental conflicts, which are basically specific fates, within the Eureka zones, which grant you a bunny rabbit which would lead you to a treasure chest in the zone. You'll find either bronze, silver or gold chests. These reward a stock 10, 25 or 100k gil respectively. Within these chests you'll also get a small shot at some big ticket items like a 2 million plus mount. While this is unlikely, the baseline gil from opening chests saves the activity from ever being a waste, and if you have a love for loot boxes then you may find a lot of enjoyment here. It's also pretty solo friendly and can be repeated all day long. In 1 hour I got 5 silver chests and 2 bronze, giving me a baseline of 145,000 gil. Additional items sold from the chests earned me approximately 40k. So 185k over the hour equated to 3.1k per minute. Dropping a 2 million gil mount will obviously greatly inflate this, but it's important to emphasise the RNG factors involved, so if you'd rather spend time getting consistent gil, then your time may be better off elsewhere. Next up, treasure maps coming in at 3.8k per minute. In particular, level 90 Cumbrascan treasure maps, which open up the level 90 Excitatron 3000 dungeon. If treasure maps have escaped your radar, they offer great gil rewards and are a lot of fun. I'll link to my treasure maps vid, but essentially you'll buy the maps off the market board and seek out the location on the map with at least 3 other people, but ideally in a full party of 8. After killing a few mobs, you'll get 10k and 30 astronomy tomes if it's your map, or 3k and 10 tomes if it's someone else's. Plus occasional loot to roll on from the treasure chest, but more importantly the chance to open a portal into the dungeon. Here, RNG will determine how far you get in the dungeon, and thus how much gil you make, with gil coming from straight drops, materia and crafting items to sell, and a few jackpot items like the resplendent feathers. Unfortunately with the latter, you'll also need to roll against your teammates. In this run, I scored 144,000 straight gil, 55,000 in items sold on the market board, and 49,000 from crafting items brought with the astronomy tombs. Subtract 20k investment buying 2 maps from the market board for a total of 232k, or 3.8k per minute. Similar to Eureka, RNG is high here, with the earning potential from big ticket items potentially bolstering your time investment tenfold. But again, the very low chances heavily hamper consistent returns. But even without the big drops, Gil return for an average, uninspired hour of maps is pretty good for what is a very fun way to spend a bit of time in Eorzea. Next, Grand Company Seal Spam, 5.5k Gil per min. Tick the unsynced box and rinse and repeat the Fist of the Father Heavensward raid solo. At level 90, it's pretty straightforward with you being able to get in and out in under 2 minutes. Being solo, you'll collect all the gear tokens yourself, which you then trade with the NPC Sabina in Idleshire for Gordian gear. I recommend running it in multiples of 4 as you'll then use up every token gathered rather than being left with spares. Running it 4 times will get you 8 accessories, 4 headpieces, 1 chest, 1 legs, 2 feet and 2 hands. 18 pieces of gear in total for 8 minutes of effort. You'll then hand these over to your Grand Company at 1093 seals a pop, giving you a total of 19,674 Grand Company seals. Again, convert them into an item like Peacock Ore, and with current prices you'll end up with approximately 44,000 gil, thus 5,500 gil per minute. This is also a great option as it involves 0 RNG, though if doing it in excess, I would recommend spreading the GC seals around multiple crafting items, looking up the current sales prices on a site like Universails, rather than just flooding one item onto the market board, as that rarely ends well. Moving on, Extreme Trial Spam, 7.8k gil per minute. In particular, we're talking about Moogle Extreme, Unsynced and Solo. Here, you'll be using desynthesis to break down the items into crafting materials. Slight hiccup here, read the battle class only aspect of the guide. In order to unlock desynthesis, you will need to have 1 crafting class at level 30 to do the quest Gone to Pieces found in Uldar. From the desynthesis, you are looking to obtain Demimog Demimateria, which is currently averaging 23,000 gil. RNG will be a factor, but chances are decent of obtaining the Demimateria once every 10 or so attempts. Other items are generally of little value, though Vanya Silk may get you over 1k a piece, though I'd still stick everything on the market board, as every little helps. In 20 runs, I got 3 Demimateria netting me 69k, with other items sold taking me to 78k. With runs being perfectly doable in sub 30 seconds, it took roughly 10 mins, equating to 7.8k per minute. Personally speaking though, I'm not a huge advocate of this, as repeatability is pretty low, as the Demimateria doesn't sell overly quickly on the market board. Moving on, hunts at 11.5k per minute. We're talking A rank hunt trains in particular. I'll leave a link to my hunt train guide in the description if you're on the dark on this one, but it involves killing A rank enemies in the open world with a large group of people. Don't be put off by the large groups aspect though. These are routinely organised multiple times a day via discords like Faloop, which I'll also leave a link to, which are very easy to get involved with and pretty anonymous. An endwalker hunt train of 16 kills lasts about 25 mins on average and will reward you with 640 sacks of nuts, the hunt only currency, 480 poetics, 320 astronomy tomes and 160 causality tombs. And on average about 8 to 10 Materia 10 clusters and a similar amount of Materia 9 clusters, which can be traded for the Materia types of your choice, aka the red ones. The nuts can be traded in Old Charlene for 570 gear, which in turn can be traded with your Grand Company for seals and then into crafting items to sell. The poetics can be traded into grade 3 topsoils in Idleshire, and the astronomy tomes, as before, can also be traded into crafted mats in Razat Han. Totaling up my sales, I amassed 80k selling the Materia, 56k from the nuts / Grand Company seals, 147k via astro mats, and 6k via poetics / topsoils for a total of 289,000 or 11.5k per minute. There is no RNG involved and all items involved sell relatively quickly, making it highly repeatable. You'll also get 160 of the top tomestones per train as well towards your weekly cap. Boom. Last on our list today is, at 12k per minute, Faux Hollows. If unfamiliar with Faux Hollows, this is a weekly minigame you can play in Idleshire in order to acquire faux leaves, which can then be exchanged for valuable items such as mounts and minions. The mounts currently fetch around 8 mil a piece on average. Faux Hollows can be played twice a week, post beating the current Unreal trial, which at the moment is Sephirot. These are old extreme encounters adjusted to level 90. I'll link to both my Faux Hollows and Sephirot guides in the description. In terms of my guild calculation here, I have had to be a little bit creative. I've based this on getting an average of 55 faux leaves per week, which will then take you 11 weeks to amass the 600 leaves needed for a mount. I've then factored in 60 mins a week to beat Sephirot Unreal, though realistically, if you have a consistent groups of friends, this could be more like 20, or if you're in the party finder, it could take considerably longer. Leveraging those numbers against an 8 million sale of a mount brings us to 12k per minute. Noting there is a major RNG element however, but it's reserved for those pugging in the party finder, aka your teammates. In summary, despite being low on the list, I would not discount Eureka. If you enjoy the rush of loot box type content, then tracking down those chests can be fun, though it is difficult to categorically recommend due to lack of consistency. Treasure maps fall foul of similar RNG issues to Eureka bunnies, though generally offer better baseline gil. Eureka bunnies are very nice to do though, as they can be done solo without formally grouping up, whereas the latest treasure maps you will normally want a group of at least 4 people. Faux Hollows / Unreal should undoubtedly be factored into your weekly routine if you're after gil, as long as you are comfortable with extreme level content, though depending on your party finder success, gil versus time efficiency may take a beating. My strongest recommendation though would be hunts, as they have 0 RNG and you can find A rank hunt trains throughout the day via Discord. Additionally, spamming Fist of the Father for Grand Company seals may suit some in need of a small gil injection, as it's quick, completely solo and offers a very good gil return. Let me know in the comments how you fared with these or any other gil farming methods, especially where the RNG gods have heaped bountiful rewards on you. All done. It'll be a huge help and I'd be eternally grateful if you'd be kind enough to like and subscribe to complete the duty.